Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Shariu Varma Chopra and with me is Renuka with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauds India's successful fight against new wave of COVID-19, calls people's trust in indigenous vaccine as country's strength. In Mann Ki Baat program, Prime Minister says corruption is like termite and people must work together to rid the country of it. Budget session of Parliament begins tomorrow with President Ramnath Kovind's address. Economic Survey 2021-22 also to be tabled in Parliament. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu convenes all-party meeting tomorrow to ensure smooth functioning of House. Door-to-door campaigning and virtual appeals continue in poll-bound Uttar Pradesh. Congress releases fourth list of 61 candidates, while BSP declares 8 more names in Uttar Pradesh. BJP announces candidates for all 60 assembly seats in Manipur. Nation remembers father of the nation Mahatma Gandhi on his 74th death anniversary. Prime Minister, Lok Sabha Speaker and other dignitaries attend Interfaith prayer meeting at Gandhi Smithi in New Delhi. In Australian Open tennis, Rafael Nadal beats Medvedev in men's singles to win record 21st Grand Slam title. As the number of COVID-19 cases is rising fast in several parts of the country, we appeal to our listeners to be vigilant and to get fully vaccinated and help others, including children between 15 and 18 years, get vaccinated. With the new Omicron variant of coronavirus causing concern, please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-239-78046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said India is fighting the new wave of COVID with great success. Addressing the nation in his Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio, Mr. Modi said it is a matter of pride that about 4.5 crore children have been administered the vaccine doses till now.
कोरोना की नई वेव से भारत बहुत सफलता के साथ लड़ रहा है। ये भी गर्व की बात है कि अब तक करीब 4.5 करोड़ बच्चों ने कोरोना वैक्सीन की डोज ले ली है। इसका मतलब यह हुआ कि 15 से 18 साल की आयु वर्ग के लगभग 60% यूथ ने 3 से 4 हफ्ते में ही टीके लगवा लिए हैं। इससे न केवल हमारे युवाओं की रक्षा होगी, बल्कि उन्हें पढ़ाई जारी रखने में भी मदद मिलेगी।
Mr. Modi highlighted that within 20 days, 1 crore people have taken the precautionary dose as well. He termed the people's trust in the indigenous vaccine as the country's strength. He, however, cautioned people to be safe and added that the pace of economic activities of the country should be maintained. Today is the 74th death anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Mr. Modi said the 30th of January reminds everyone of the teachings of Bapu. The Prime Minister noted that Republic Day functions will now start from the 23rd of January on the birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and will continue till the 30th of January, which is Mahatma Gandhi's death anniversary.
अब गणतंत्र दिवस समारोह 23 जनवरी यानी नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस की जन्म जयंती से शुरू होगा और 30 जनवरी तक यानी गांधी जी की पुण्यतिथि तक चलेगा। इंडिया गेट पर नेताजी की डिजिटल प्रतिमा भी स्थापित की गई है। इस बात का जिस प्रकार से देश ने स्वागत किया, उसे हम कभी भूल नहीं सकते हैं।
The Prime Minister added that in the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, India is re-establishing its national symbols through these efforts. He said that the Amar Jawan Jyoti near India Gate and the Jyoti lit at the National War Memorial in the vicinity were merged.
नेशनल वॉर मेमोरियल में आजादी के बाद से शहीद हुए देश के सभी जाबाजों के नाम अंकित किए गए हैं। मुझे सेना के कुछ पूर्व जवानों ने पत्र लिखकर कहा है कि शहीदों की स्मृति के सामने प्रज्वलित हो रही अमर जवान ज्योति शहीदों की अमरता का प्रतीक है। सच में अमर जवान ज्योति की ही तरह हमारे शहीद, उनकी प्रेरणा और उनके योगदान भी अमर है।
The Padma Awards have also been announced recently. The Prime Minister said there are many recipients of the Padma Awards about whom very few people know. He called them the unsung heroes who have done extraordinary deeds in ordinary circumstances. The Prime Minister expressed delight that more than 1 crore children have written to him through Man Ki Baat postcards. These postcards have come from different parts of the country as well as abroad. He stated that these postcards show how broad and wide the vision of the new generation is for the future of the country. Mr. Modi shared some postcards for the listeners of Man Ki Baat. In her postcard, Navya Verma from Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh said, her dream for 2047 is of an India where everyone has a dignified life, farmers are prosperous, and there is no corruption. Mr. Modi said, corruption is like a termite which makes the country hollow, and the people of the country have to work together to rid the nation of it as soon as possible.
आपने भ्रष्टाचार मुक्त भारत की बात की। भ्रष्टाचार तो दीमक की तरह देश को खोखला करता है। उससे मुक्ति के लिए 2047 का इंतजार क्यों? ये काम हम सभी देशवासियों को, आज की युवा पीढ़ी को मिलकर करना है, जल्द से जल्द करना है। और इसके लिए बहुत जरूरी है कि हम अपने कर्तव्यों को प्राथमिकता दें। जहां कर्तव्य निभाने का एहसास होता है, कर्तव्य सर्वोपरि होता है, वहां भ्रष्टाचार फटक भी नहीं सकता।
The Prime Minister emphasized that the enthusiasm of India's Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is not limited to the country. Students of the School of Applied Arts and Design in Zagreb, Croatia, have sent 75 postcards to the people of India and congratulated them on the Amrit Mahotsav. Mr. Modi highlighted that our love for nature and compassion for every living being is part of our Indian culture. He said a glimpse of this was seen recently when a tigress died in Pench Tiger Reserve of Madhya Pradesh. He said a similar sight was seen this time in the Republic Day parade. The charger mount of the President's bodyguard, Virat, took part in his last parade. Virat had come to Rashtrapati Bhavan in 2003 and used to lead the parade every year as Commandant Charger. The Prime Minister spoke about the popularity of Indian culture and said it is a big attraction in Latin America and South America. He said there is an organization in Argentina called Hastinapur Foundation which is involved in the propagation of Indian Vedic traditions in the country. Mr. Modi also stated that Ladakh will soon be blessed with an impressive open synthetic track and AstroTurf football stadium. This stadium is being built at a height of more than 10,000 feet and its construction will be completed soon. This will be the largest open stadium in Ladakh where 30,000 spectators can sit together. In the end, the Prime Minister urged people to not use single-use plastic and go vocal for local. He also reminded everyone to work wholeheartedly for the Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign.
The budget session of Parliament will begin tomorrow. The session will commence with President Ram Nath Kovind's address to both the houses of Parliament assembled together at 11 a.m. in Central Hall. After that, the copy of the President's address will be tabled in both the houses. Economic Survey 2021-22 will be tabled on the same day in the Parliament. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will present the Union Budget for the year 2022-23 on 1st of February in the Lok Sabha, and its copy will be laid on the table of the Rajya Sabha soon thereafter. This time it will be a paperless budget. Our correspondent reports that the budget session will be held amidst COVID protocol.
With a view to ensure COVID safety protocol, both the houses of parliament will function in shifts from Wednesday. The Rajya Sabha proceedings will be held from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and Lok Sabha will sit from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. The first part of the budget session will continue till 11th of February and it will have 10 sittings. The discussion on motion of thanks to President for his address and the general budget are the major items of business for the first part of the session. This time in the Rajya Sabha, the 0 hour, which usually runs for 1 hour, has been reduced to 30 minutes. After a month-long recess, the second part of the session will begin from 14th of March and conclude on 8th of April this year, in which there will be 19 sittings. With Mohammad Nasim Naqvi, Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
In view of the budget session of Parliament, the government has convened an all-party meeting tomorrow to seek cooperation from all political parties for smooth functioning of the budget session. This meeting will be held virtually at 3 p.m. in view of the COVID-19 situation. The floor leaders of political parties in the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha have been invited for the meeting. On the same day, Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu has called a virtual meeting of leaders of parties and groups at 5 p.m. to discuss the agenda for this budget session. The meeting will take place virtually.
Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu and Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla this evening took stock of arrangements for the budget session of Parliament beginning tomorrow. The Lok Sabha Speaker met Mr. Naidu and both the presiding officers went over various issues for about 40 minutes. Sources said that in view of the speed of the spread of the coronavirus during the third wave, Mr. Birla suggested that members of both houses may be seated at different locations by name to avoid confusion, crowding and inquiries. This was welcomed by Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu. Secretaries General of both houses were asked to reach out to leaders of various parties and groups in respective houses immediately and to suggest to them to draw lists of names of members to be seated in different locations. Seats were allotted in chambers and galleries of both the houses based on the strength of parties.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauds India's successful fight against new wave of COVID-19, calls people's trust in indigenous vaccine as country's strength. In Mann Ki Baat program, Prime Minister says corruption is like termite and people must work together to rid of the country of it. Budget session of Parliament begins tomorrow with President Ramnath Kovind's address. Economic Survey 2021-22 also be tabled in Parliament. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu convenes all-party meeting tomorrow to ensure smooth functioning of House. Door-to-door campaigning and virtual appeals continue in poll-bound Uttar Pradesh. Congress releases fourth list of 61 candidates while BSP declares 8 more names in Uttar Pradesh. BJP announces candidates for all 60 assembly seats in Manipur. Nation remembers Father of the Nation Mahatma Gandhi on his 74th death anniversary. Prime Minister, Lok Sabha Speaker and other dignitaries attend Interfaith prayer meeting at Gandhi Smithi in New Delhi. In Australian Open tennis, Rafael Nadal beats Daniel Medvedev in men's singles to win record 21st Grand Slam title. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
In Uttar Pradesh, a high-pitched electoral campaign is going on for the first 2 phases of the 7-phase assembly elections. Star campaigners and prominent leaders of various political parties were engaged in door-to-door canvassing and virtual appeals to woo voters in the state today. Senior BJP leaders including JP Nadal, Rajnath Singh, Smithi Irani, Shobha Karandlanje, Ashwini Chaubey, Yogi Adityanath, Swatantrata Dev Singh and Keshav Prasad Maurya campaigned for party candidates in different districts. Campaigning for party candidates in Kasganj district, senior BJP leader and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said the BJP is a party which fulfills the promises made in the manifesto and does not do politics in the name of religion. Senior Congress leader and Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel held door-to-door campaigns for party candidates in Meerut district. Samajwadi Party President Akhilesh Yadav along with RLD Chief Jayant Chowdhury jointly addressed a press conference in Hapur district today. Mr. Yadav promised that his party will provide employment on the lines of MG Narendra by implementing the Urban Employment Guarantee Act. Uttar Pradesh is going to the polls in 7 phases from the 10th of February to the 7th of March. The first phase of assembly polls in the state will be held on the 10th of February. 623 candidates are in the fray for 58 seats across 11 districts in this phase. The second phase of polling in Uttar Pradesh will be held on the 14th of February in 55 assembly constituencies across 9 districts. In addition, the single-phase polling in Goa and Uttarakhand will be held simultaneously on the 14th of next month. Polling will be held for 40 seats in Goa and 70 seats in Uttarakhand. The third phase of polling in Uttar Pradesh will be conducted on the 20th of February in 59 assembly constituencies across 16 districts. In addition, the single-phase polling in Punjab will be held on 117 assembly constituencies on the 20th of next month. The filing of nominations is underway for the fourth phase of assembly polls in Uttar Pradesh. Polling for the fourth phase will be conducted on the 23rd of February in 59 assembly constituencies from 9 districts. The Congress Party today released fourth list of 61 candidates for Uttar Pradesh assembly elections. The party has changed candidates at Hathras and Biswan assembly seats. The Bahujan Samaj Party also declared names of 8 candidates today. All these seats are in those districts where polling will be held in the fourth phase. Ruling BJP ally Apna Dal Sonelal today nominated Jaikumar Singh Jaiki from Bindaki in Fatehpur district. Mr. Jaiki is a minister in the Yogi government and he has changed his constituency this time. In 2017, he had contested from Jahanabad assembly seat. The Congress today also released its third list of 8 candidates for the upcoming Punjab assembly elections. Chief Minister Charanjit Singh Channi will contest from the Bahadur assembly constituency as well. Earlier, the party had announced his candidature from Chamkaur Sahib assembly seat. Manipur will go to the polls in 2 phases on the 27th of February and the 3rd of March. The BJP today announced its candidates for all 60 assembly seats in Manipur. Chief Minister N. Biren Singh will contest from Hengang seat. The counting of votes in the 5 states will be held on the 10th of March.
Over 165 crore 70 lakh COVID-19 vaccine doses have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive in the country. Over 75% of the eligible population in the country is now fully vaccinated. Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated fellow citizens for this momentous feat. The recovery rate is currently at 94.21%. Over 234,000 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. Union Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting Dr. L. Murugan today said that the Tamil channel of Doordarshan will be upgraded in HD format soon. The minister attended Prime Minister's Mann Ki Baat program at Doordarshan Kendra in Chennai. He also reviewed the functioning of various wings of Doordarshan Kendra.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the 30th Foundation Day program of the National Commission for Women, NCW, tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. through video conferencing. The theme of the program is She, the Change Maker, aimed at celebrating the achievements of women in different fields. The nation remembered Father of the Nation Mahatma Gandhi on his 74th death anniversary today. The day is also observed as Martyrs' Day. Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated on this day in 1948. The nation also observed a 2-minute silence at 11 a.m. on Martyrs' Day today. President Ramnath Kovind laid a wreath at the Samadhi of Mahatma Gandhi at Rajghat in the national capital this morning. Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid floral tributes. Later in the evening, an Interfaith prayer meeting was organized at Gandhi Smithi in 30 Janwari Marg in New Delhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and other dignitaries attended the Interfaith meeting. The dignitaries also observed silence as a mark of respect in the memory of the Father of the Nation, Mahatma Gandhi. On the occasion, Bapu's favourite bhajans like Vaishnav Jan To Tene Kahiye were also recited. Union Home and Cooperative Minister Amit Shah unveiled a grand wall mural of Mahatma Gandhi at Sabarmati riverfront in Gujarat on Martyrs' Day today.
Now let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of this struggle every day. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavan Sita Ram.
Today we pay homage to Father of the Nation, Mahatma Gandhi, who breathed his last on 30th of January 1948.
In September 1947, Gandhiji arrived in Delhi from Calcutta, where he had gone to appeal for peace following the partition riots. He stayed at Birla House in Delhi. Most of his time at Birla House was spent in writing letters, meeting visitors and attending prayers.
हिंदू धर्म में, सच्चा हिंदू धर्म में ऐसी कास्ट को, छुआ-छूत को, एक जंगली और एक बड़ा है, उन सब चीजों को स्थान नहीं रह सकता है. उसमें सर्व धर्मों का समुच्चय समाविष्ट होना ही चाहिए. अगर नहीं होता है तो मेरी निगाह में वो हिंदू धर्म नहीं है.
Gandhiji began his last fast to restore communal harmony on 13th of January 1948. After 7 days, on the 20th of January, there was an attempt to assassinate Gandhiji when a person threw a bomb at Birla House. But it didn't harm Gandhiji, and he said,
"If I am to die by bullet of a madman, I must do so smiling. There must be no anger within me. God must be in my heart and on my lips."
When Gandhiji was offered an enhanced security cover, he said,
"Those who preferred security to freedom had no right to live."
On the evening of 30th of January, when Gandhiji was being escorted to the prayer meetings by his two grandnieces, Nathuram Godse emerged from the crowd. He bowed to him and shot him 3 times at point-blank range. Gandhiji slumped to the ground, mortally wounded.
Speaking on the All India Radio, Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru informed the nation about the loss as,
"The light has gone out of our lives and there is darkness everywhere. And I do not quite know what to tell you and how to say it. Our beloved leader, Bapu as we called him, the father of the nation, is no more."
The following day, an enormous crowd estimated at nearly 1 million people lined the 5-mile route of the funeral procession to the bank of the Yamuna River. The ashes were kept on the river bank for 3 days before they were taken away for immersion in Sangam in Prayagraj. His memorial Rajghat in New Delhi is a pilgrimage for millions of his followers.
We also remember Kudumala Rangarao, who ushered in an era of social reform and inspired even Mahatma Gandhi to follow in his footsteps.
Born into a poor family in Kasargod, Rangarao envisioned empowerment of the depressed classes through education and steered change in a society way back in the 1890s. Rangarao set up schools for the downtrodden. He called them Panchama schools.
To persuade the kids to attend schools, he arranged for midday meals and 2 paise per day to the parents to develop an interest and motivate the families to get their children to schools. By marrying off his own widowed daughter to the Zamindar of Kumaramangalam, he set an example of intercaste marriage and widow remarriage in India.
Following his inspiration, Gandhiji married one of his sons with the daughter of C. Rajagopalacharis. Mahatma Gandhi said,
"I discerned social loyalty from Mr. Rangarao. He's an inspiration and a guide for me. He's my teacher when it comes to the upliftment of the untouchables."
Kudumal Rangarao breathed his last in Mangalore on 30th of January 1928. AIR News pays homage to the noble soul.
30th of January is also the death anniversary of Makhanlal Chaturvedi. Born in Hoshangabad on the 4th of April 1889, he was inspired by Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Gandhiji. He was the illustrious editor of Prabha and later Karmavir. the journals which enlightened the masses against British imperialism. He was imprisoned by the British government many times, and his journal was forcibly closed down by the British. The British excesses could not bend the will of the valiant patriot poet. Once out of jail, Makhan Lal restarted his journal.
After independence, Makhan Lal refrained from seeking a share in power and continued to exhort the people through speech and writing. He continued to walk on the path shown by Mahatma Gandhi to build an equitable society. He was awarded the first Sahitya Academy Award in Hindi for his work Him Tarangini in 1955. The Government of India awarded him the Padma Bhushan in 1963. Makhan Lal Chaturvedi breathed his last on 30th of January 1968 in Bhopal. We salute the great nationalist.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase Hallmark gold jewellery. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. Jago Grahak Jago. In Australian Open tennis, Rafael Nadal defeated Daniel Medvedev in the men's singles final today to clinch a record 21st Grand Slam title. Sixth seed Nadal defeated world number 2 Medvedev in a 5-set thriller 2-6, 6-7, 6-4, 6-4, 7-5 at the Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne to back the Australian Open title. With this victory, the Spaniard became the first male player to win historic 21 Grand Slam titles, surpassing Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer, who have won 20 Grand Slams apiece.
A quick look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi is likely to have strong surface winds during the day. Leh is likely to witness light snow. Gilgit will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Muzaffarabad will have rain in the afternoon. And in Itanagar, temperatures will hover between 11 and 20 degrees Celsius. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauds India's successful fight against new wave of COVID-19, calls people's trust in indigenous vaccine as country's strength. In Mann Ki Baat program, Prime Minister says corruption is like termite and people must work together to rid the country of it. Budget session of Parliament begins tomorrow with President Ramnath Kovind's address. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu convenes all-party meeting tomorrow to ensure smooth functioning of House. Door-to-door campaigning and virtual appeals continue in poll-bound Uttar Pradesh. Congress releases fourth list of 61 candidates while BSP declares 8 more names in Uttar Pradesh. BJP announces candidates for all 60 assembly seats in Manipur. Nation remembers father of the nation Mahatma Gandhi on his 74th death anniversary. Prime Minister, Lok Sabha Speaker and other dignitaries attend Interfaith prayer meeting at Gandhi Smithi in New Delhi. In Australian Open tennis, Rafael Nadal beats Daniel Medvedev in men's singles to win record 21st Grand Slam title. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.